bad or good move for the New York Knicks, and does this trade make them the biggest threat in the Eastern Conference?
I think it's a fabulous move. I really applaud the Knicks front office. They've really changed it around now. They're making very good decisions. They built what looks like a fantastic team. I think it does change the balance in the Eastern Division a little bit. I think it's really the Celtics and the Knicks now. They're the top two teams. 76ers there. They're going to be competitive too, but they really don't. They added Paul George, so they got three good players too, and Maxey and
Embiid.
Embiid, yeah. So I think those are and you've got Milwaukee as well, but Milwaukee is kind of faded now, even with Giannis out there. So I think the Knicks really, this was a blockbuster trade. I think that Julius Randle for them, he got hurt. He didn't play well in the playoffs. When he was in the playoffs, he was playing hurt. He didn't even play in the playoffs this year. He had that shoulder surgery. We're not sure what he was going to be coming back. DiVincenzo, a nice player for the Knicks, a Villanova guy. They actually had 4 Villanova starters now if they'd hung on to DiVincenzo, but now he's gone. I kind of sorry to see him go. Losing a first-round draft pick, so what? They got about a dozen of them, so I don't think that's a big loss. And to pick up a player like Karl-Anthony Towns, who in last year he averaged almost 22 points a game. He had 8 rebounds, had 3 assists. His shooting percentage over 50%. He's a 4-time All-Star, 10 seasons, so he's a veteran. For his career, he's played in 573 games, averaging 34 minutes a game, almost 23 points a game, almost a little over 52% field goal percentage. His 3-point percentage, 40%. That's excellent. Almost 11 rebounds a game, 3.2 assists a game, and even almost 1 steal a game. So I think that putting him in there, and that's the one position that the Knicks are weak on. They lost Hartenstein. Mitch Robinson. Mitch Robinson.
Yeah.
He's had some injury issues. If he can get healthy, he'd be an excellent backup to Towns. I really think that this is an excellent trade. I think that it caught Anthony Towns by surprise. He posted an ellipsis on X without a single word.
Yeah.
I think he'd been out there commenting, wow, we're going to be great this year. I'm looking forward to playing with these teammates. It's a great team and all that. And then suddenly he gets traded. I think it caught him by surprise. He's coming back to New Jersey where he grew up. So that's a positive for him. He's played for 5 different head coaches. He has had the injury bug once in a while. He strained his calf, limited him to 29 games in 2022 and 23. He's reuniting with Tom Thibodeau, who he played for 2.5 years. The Timberwolves avoid the second apron, which is a problem, which had been a problem for them. Their ownership is somewhat in flux. I think that for Towns, he may have been surprised, but I think overall it's going to be good for him. He can go back to being a center. And Robinson's going to be out for a couple of months with that ankle surgery. And the Knicks address their only position of weakness. So I give them A+ on this.
I would agree on a lot of it. And I think because when this broke, I was talking to a couple of Knicks fans, very, very close friends of mine, and they were both surprised. And the one part of this, at least one of them was shocked by, said, why are they going to get rid of DiVincenzo? Why DiVincenzo? He's a 40% shooter from 3. Great guy, had a very clutch 3-pointer late against Philly that actually ended up allowing the Knicks to win in that particular game. But it was actually, according to a report, DiVincenzo was not happy with the fact that he would be relegated to the bench with the amount of moves they made, because they just got Mikal Bridges, so there was a high likelihood that it would be Brunson Bridges as the guard spot, leaving Hart and OG, or even Precious Achiuwa in there at the forward position, and leave DiVincenzo to the bench. So this was just, he would have been upset with his minutes. It had nothing to do, with the Nova group. He didn't really care for that, supposedly. So that's why DiVincenzo had to be a part of that trade. When it comes to the Knicks part of this, though, And the question at hand, where it's, are they now the biggest threat in the Eastern Conference? Let's go with how good the trade was. I agree. This trade was very, very good because it did target one of the most crucial needs that the Knicks had. A center, a big man. Especially because Mitch Robinson is going to miss the opening of the season. So they needed some form of big man to be out there, and I don't think Julius Randle would have been that type of guy. They would have needed to put him at the center position, and then put Precious Achiuwa at the center position and see if that would work for the foreseeable future. So getting Karl-Anthony Towns, you secure a big man, and not only that, it allows for the one thing that the Knicks haven't really been able to do because their big man for large parts of it, whether it be Hartenstein or for large parts Mitch Robinson, was the amount of spacing. Now you have a center who shot 40% from three-point land last season. So in order to create that spacing, it now allows more drives, more kickouts. Big men are going to need to step up now, which frees up the paint. You can get more rebounds if you have both Mitch Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns out there, which that would be something. Mitch Robinson, a great offensive rebounder, and Karl-Anthony Towns could stay on the outside, drawing that big man away from the middle, give Mitch Robinson a higher likelihood to get the offensive rebound. I think this is a great acquisition for the Knicks. It's 100% the best move they could have possibly made, and what I teased earlier on in the show was that this has been sort of rumored and reported for now over a year. I saw an article recently, back in January or even February, there was talks of Karl-Anthony Towns going over to the New York Knicks. Now, there was a reporter out there that made it abundantly clear. Cat never asked for a trade, never asked to be moved, was not displeased with the Minnesota Timberwolves. This was all just something that owners decided to do, and I think it could be in large part due to that second apron. You needed to get off a massive contract. So I think when it comes down to, and this is going to come to you now because Celtics fan for basically forever, you picked them to win last year. I had the Knicks going far. I didn't say they win. I did end up picking the Dallas Mavericks to win, which was a massive mistake on my part. I think this does make the Knicks probably, if they weren't already the biggest threat to the Celtics before Cat, this 100% I think solidifies. Everybody needs to stay healthy, of course. Solidifies the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. At least the number 2.
Yeah.
Because what the Knicks have now is exactly what matches up beautifully with the Boston Celtics. You have your wing defenders. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown are now going to need to go up against Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. They match up pretty nicely together. As well as both those guys could shoot, I would say, pretty efficiently. Then really it's the battle of the guards. If you include Mikal Bridges there would be Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson against Derek White and Drew Holiday. Now you would think, okay, the Celtics have the defensive side, the Knicks have the offensive side. So it really depends on who's getting the upper hand in the matchups. And then it's the battle of the big men. Let's say Kristaps Porzingis is out there.
He's out till December.
Right, but I'm saying let's say he's out there. By the way, they do open up the season playing the Boston Celtics, so we will be seeing this immediately.
Yeah.
But right now, what's interesting, the big man battle. This is the interesting part. Who's going to play the power forward position? Because as ESPN currently has it, Josh Hart is the current power forward for the New York Knicks. In my opinion,
it's a little small for that.
And I agree, but in my opinion, because Mitch is out for the foreseeable future, I would put in Precious Achiuwa. That's what I would do. I would go Brunson, Bridges, OG, Achiuwa, Cat. That would be my starting 5 there. And I think that matches up pretty nicely with the Celtics. And you're playing them in game 1. If the Knicks go out here and blow the Celtics out, I think we could see a serious chance. I know it's crazy to say now, and it's definitely way too premature for this. I already believed in the deep playoff run last year, and that's with Randle hurt. That's with Mitch Robinson hurt. I still believed in it, and they almost proved me right until everybody started getting hurt.
Yeah.
If this team can stay healthy, why can't they be better than the Celtics? Why can't they take the number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference?
Well, I think they have the talent to compete for a championship now. Definitely. They've got the talent on that team. The depth, I don't know who they got left on the bench.
Deuce McBride, Josh Hart, depending on how you figure out the rotation. Josh Hart, Precious Achiuwa, Mitch Robinson. They also picked up Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet as well. They have a couple rookies out there that I really like too. Kolek, I think, will be a great guy. Assist guy, I think he's going to be very, very good distributing the ball. Defense needs a little bit of work, but it's rookies and kind of just passed around the league, guys. Campaign's been all over the place.
One thing is the chemistry, right? Bridges and Towns coming in. They haven't played together. Might take them a little time to get that worked out. On the Celtics side, they have the injury to Porzingis. He's not going to be available till December.
Reportedly.
That's going to put more pressure on the other players, particularly the other center for the Celtics.
Was Al Horford?
Al Horford, yeah. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be a great NBA season. I'm looking forward to it, particularly in the Eastern Conference. There are going to be battles there. These teams are going to be. I think it'll be a lot closer. The Celtics just blew away everybody last year. They won 62 games. I think it's going to be harder for them to do that this year. They are coming off a championship, and they'd love to repeat, prove that it wasn't any kind of fluke. They waited a long time for that first championship. Now they've got one under their belt. It's going to relax them a little bit, I think. So they could play even better. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But I do think the Knicks have put the talent on their team together from top to bottom now to be able to compete for a championship.
I think it's not up to the same exact level, but it's very, very close. This year's Knicks team was last year's Celtics team. Think about what the Celtics did last season. Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, they got a bunch of guys. They signed Jalen Brown to the massive deal. Now they have Jason Tatum to the massive deal. Peyton Pritchard got his extension this season as well. Sam Hauser played very well. This year's Knicks is last year's Celtics.
Yeah. Well, the Knicks have got to stay healthy.
That's the biggest thing. The Celtics stayed healthy for the most part.
Achua, and also Anunoby. He's got to stay healthy, and he has a injury history.
Correct.
But when he plays, they rarely lose.
Yeah.
Even without the great big center, all-star center. Now that they have him, wow. And he shoots 40% from 3-point too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, it's going to be interesting to see. We remember 10 years ago we interviewed him.
Yeah.
You did anyway.
Yeah.
At the Knicks. At the NBA rookie event that we went to.
Correct. Where they got their photo opportunity. By the way, speaking about Karl-Anthony Towns, nicest guy there.
Yeah. Very nice guy.
Out of everybody in the draft class, two stood out to me. Karl-Anthony Towns, which was, I think, the first or second person I interviewed. And then the second one would be Kristaps Porzingis, was extremely nice.
He was a very nice guy.
And that was the big guy there. He was the guy that everybody, because you're in New York, you wanted to interview the big guy from New York now, the unicorn as they now call him. But Karl-Anthony Towns, extremely, extremely nice guy. Now he's on the Knicks. Should be interesting to watch, but I'm telling you, mark my words, health-wise, if they just stay healthy, which a couple of these players, they have injury histories. If they stay healthy, there's a very decent shot the Knicks take the 1 seed in the East. I think because the only gap is in case one of them goes down, and especially if it's a guard, Deuce McBride, you're going to have to rely on scoring off the bench. We saw in the playoffs, you can't let Deuce McBride be the only guy who you need to score. It just doesn't work.
I think Mitchell Robinson, whether he comes back from that injury strong or not, is important too, because who's the backup center then? What's the other guy's name?
It would be Precious Achua. That's really all they got, which is why they needed some guy. And I'll say this, Julius Randle needed to go. He would need to take a massive payday, or he would need to decrease his pay again, but it was more likely that he was either going to get traded midseason or he was going to go. That's been known for like a year or two at this point. DiVincenzo's the massive one that I think a lot of people were shocked by, but you take a look at his role on the team. He was already a bench player for the Golden State Warriors. He proved himself to be a true starter last year on the Knicks.
Yeah, well, he's turned out to be He's turned out to be a journeyman.
A little bit, but I don't think it's the case where he gets passed around the league because of his poor performance. I think it's just been circumstance. The Warriors, they didn't need him anymore. They got rid of him. The Knicks picked him up, made him into a beautiful starter, shot 40% from three, broke the Knicks 3-point record, and he was going to get relegated back to the bench. If I prove myself as a starter, why would I submit myself to go back on the bench?
No.
So I think his role on the Timberwolves, I think is going to be a great role. He's going to be together with Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, McDaniels.
I think the Timberwolves, in a way, it was a good trade for them.
Oh, it is,
right? Because they have Gobert to play center.
Right. And as long as, he doesn't choke and then play poorly like he did in the playoffs. He was a traffic cone. He wasn't moving. It was a bad look for him. But as long as that doesn't happen, I think they should be pretty good.
Yeah.
Who's saying they can't make another deep playoff run and be this close to the NBA Finals?
We'll be watching that first game, Knicks Celtics.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Is that in Boston or is it in New York?
I would need to look it up. I think though it is in Boston. I could be completely wrong.
I think it was too.
Let's do a quick check. At Boston.
Yeah.
At Boston. It's on Tuesday, October 22nd. So it's going to be enjoyable watch, 7:30 p.m. on TNT. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.